Yo, what is going on? And welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. Julio Matarosa, to my left, executive director of Vibes. Julio, what's going on, man?
Man, soccer overload. All this going on, all this soccer going on. Club World Cup, trying to keep up with the Gold Cup. So, man, just more soccer and more soccer.
Yeah, it's a busy time, very busy time. And, the show goes on, life goes on. And we got another special guest today for today's episode, joining us via Zoom from Sporting Kansas City, Dániel Sallói. Daniel, what's going on? How we doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain. Just another day, right?
Exactly. Happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you on, man. Coming off right now, it's the middle of the summer, or I guess summer just started. A million things going on. You guys, on the other hand, had a nice break. What was that vacation like? What's it like to have a little bit of time off in the middle of the season?
It was awesome. MLS is such a strange league because I don't think I've ever had really a summer vacation where I could plan something. So it was nice to be able to have a couple of days. Told us earlier this season that we can plan something. So me and my girlfriend went to like the Hamptons and Newport and Boston. We did a little road trip up there and never been in that area. So it's always nice to see new things.
Yeah, fancy vacation, man.
Honestly, you realize that you might need a new plan for retirement because it might be too expensive.
Hey, that MLS pension, we got to get those numbers up, man.
Exactly. That's why I'm in the PA. I'm trying to push it up.
Right. You got to fight from the inside, right?
Exactly.
Oh man, but all this soccer that's been going on, we got the Club World Cup going on. We have the Gold Cup. There's a million different competitions. Leagues Cup is coming up in a little bit. You're blessed enough to have a little bit of a break, but some of these other players that are having to get into all these different competitions. And what's your take on that? Because obviously it's great to have the exposure and great to have these bigger, more like life-size tournaments that are coming to the U.S. But what's your take as a player with the additional schedule congestion and all that?
It's hard, I understand players complaining because it's a lot of games and it seems like there's always a new thing coming up and you get pulled into another thing. But it is what it is. We signed up for this and there's good bonuses usually attached to it. So there's ups, there's downs. I can't really complain if, the top European teams don't complain if they're the ones who probably don't even have 5 days off at this point. So it's strange, but FIFA is just milking everything out of this. So any game they can add to a calendar, they're going to do it.
As far as you had a little time off, how is that time off? Do you still have to go and get a little workout in prior to having a night out with your girlfriend, or how does that work?
It's really short in terms of like, it's not, if it's like a full week or like 2 weeks, yes, you want to keep moving a little bit, but truly the season is very heavy. So when you can get 5 days off, you want to really enjoy it. But as I always say this to our fitness coaches and anybody, that they are always so worried if we're gonna do our workouts. My favorite thing to do is to go play sports or do something. Like immediately I go play paddle or I go to the gym or do something. So you'll always end up doing something. If you go to the beach, you'll grab a ball and start playing two-touch with someone. So like you always try to do something. So yes, you end up moving.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and I don't know if you got a chance in the Hamptons, but I'm sure they got some fancy paddle courts, or because they got the country clubs and all that up there. Were you able to get a chance to get your hand on a racket?
Yes, we definitely we looked at one place that was it's called Brisas. It was amazing, looked awesome, and then we actually stayed at a hotel that had a couple courts there as well. So it's really cool.
You're starting to see a lot more paddle courts because obviously pickleball is like the huge thing. And I don't know, because tennis versus pickleball, there's a little bit of animosity there. Is there a little paddle versus pickleball like we're the real sport, or you guys, this is, you guys are for old people or whatnot? Like what's the like school of thought there?
I think so, yes. I mean, pickleball seems to be the biggest enemy in the racket sport world, and all the other ones are seem to be okay. Paddle is really fun. We here in Kansas City, there's only two courts. We invested and we brought two courts here. So with some of my teammates, because the sport is huge in the world, and
Yeah.
in the US, it's just growing. And the past 2 years, there's been just courts popping up constantly. But not gonna lie, it's still like I tell people about paddle, and they're like, "What is that?" So it still takes a lot of time here in the Midwest, but we're working, and that's why when we visit somewhere, I immediately have to check out the clubs there.
Yeah. How
Do
did
you
you
guys
get into?
play?
What's that?
Do you guys play?
Not paddle.
Not
I
paddle.
play a little bit of tennis here and there. I play pickleball. I've played. I might have won a couple of tournaments, like friendly tournaments here with some of my friends.
Humble brag.
Yeah, but I mean, like I think pickleball is very fun, but the people who take it like ultra serious and that are like yelling at each other and being like, it's gonna be competitive, but like you got to realize like this is more of a game than it is like a competitive sport. So I understand like the animosity towards pickleball, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun to play. So like
Yes.
I have not tried paddle yet, but that's something that I've watched videos. Like the videos of it are insane. Like the highlights, people running out of the court, like getting these crazy rallies. Like it looks like a lot of fun.
It really is, and as you said, I'm just happy to see when people go play sports because it's nice. If
Yeah.
and then I love that in America, anything new pops up, people want to try it. So like the trend of pickleball just like took off because people are like, no, I'm gonna try this thing. I'm hoping like paddle is the same thing, and it seems to be trending that way. So it's cool.
What are some of the best players that play paddleball that you can let us know about so we can look up some videos, see some games?
Like professional players.
Yes.
So we actually went to Reserve in Miami. This club always once a year does a tournament where they invite like professional players, and we do preseason there when they do this tournament. So the past 2 years we've gone and watched it, and it's crazy. Like they make it seem so easy that the next day you book a court and then you realize, oh no, it's not that easy. So it's really fun to watch like Tapia, Coelho, Galan, like these guys are like the top and they all played there. So it's just fun to see them, but they are still, it's still new in the US.
Yeah, what's your game like? Are you nice? Are you nice with it?
I'm okay. When I was a kid, I played tennis, so I have the base, but I still wish I could play more. But at the same time, the season's going on, and it is a tiring sport if you play it every day.
Yeah.
But I try to get out there every once in a while, and the off season's hard because, as I said, the two courts we have here is like outdoor courts. So Kansas City winters
Hot.
are brutal.
Cold. Yeah.
So it's hard, but yes, I think I can see myself when I retire being on the court every single day.
Yeah, and you can't really show up to practice with I pull my hammy playing paddle. You can't.
Exactly. Yes, you don't want to risk it. Yes.
How did you get started and into it? And talk about investing into the court and the facility.
So some of my teammates, we had like a really good core group at Sporting KC, like the veterans, as you would say, and like the Graham Zusis, Roger Espinosa, Johnny Russell, Andreu Fontas, Uri Rossell. These guys are good friends of mine, and Andreu Fontas is from Spain, and he one time at breakfast was like, "Hey, I think there's a sport in Spain that everybody plays, and like I don't see any courts in the US, and I think this could be really popular." So that's how it all started, and then we just looked into ways to bringing in the sport, and we found a partnership with a local racket club, and we just used two of their tennis courts to put paddle courts there, and that's how it started. We only opened in August, so we're not even a year open. But it's really cool to do something next to soccer, like getting into the business world, a little bit. And it's stressful, but also very interesting.
Yeah, you're starting to see a lot of athletes, like before it was like they retire and then they would get into the business ventures. Now it's like you have it's not like, oh, you know, you focus on the game, like, you know, you have more kind of room to get into these ventures while you're playing. That way, you know, after your career's done, you're already you know, in the middle of the race rather than just getting started. So it's cool to see a lot more athletes kind of getting into, whether it's fashion, whether it's business ventures, whether it's other sports. Like, so I think that's really cool to see other athletes getting into that.
It really is. And honestly, like I think back, like before I had to work on this, like I'm like, oh my God, I had so much time. I would come home from training and take a nap, and now and just like rest the whole day and do nothing. And then you realize like how short a day is when you actually have to like work on something. So it's a good mix. And at the end of the day, soccer ends one day and you have to do something after.
Yeah. Yeah, that way you can get into those, you know, Hamptons lifestyle, you know.
That's the goal right there.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kansas City, because you've become, you know, like a mainstay player with the club. You know, having moving there from when you were a kid and growing up through the system. Can you talk about Kansas City outside of, we can get into the soccer side of things down the road, but just talk about Kansas City as like a community, the area. What was like growing up there, and like how has your career been while in Kansas City?
Yes, I've been in Kansas City for over 10 years now, and I coming from Hungary as an exchange student and living with a host family was a really cool experience. I got an amazing family that I still look at them as my own. I still keep in touch with them and always try. They come to the games and I find ways to hang out with them. So that was very lucky. Not a lot of people have that experience when they just move to a different country and get thrown into a house, you know? So that was amazing. And they took care of me and made me fall in love with America. People are very nice. And especially here in Kansas City, you know, they always welcome me and they were interested in me. And it was really cool and immediately felt like home. And you know, with my soccer career slowly getting more and more successful, you start to have great feelings about a city. And once again, like the sports are amazing here. So like going to the Chiefs games. When I moved here, the Royals were doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Now the KC Current. So like there's always something that you can find. And it's a very, very nice place. And when I got to buy a house a couple of years ago and just really start a life here, I got my citizenship last year. So it's these things are all connected for me in Kansas City, and it's been very special to be here. And as you said, like as the fans look at me as one of the like oldest player at this point at this club, like playing for the longest time here, it's special. You know, they value me here, and that's why my family loves visiting and being at the stadium. It's definitely a good feeling to be that person and not growing up here, but relocating and starting something here like that. It's special.
Yeah.
As an exchange student, did you come for soccer, or was it school first and then soccer just grew into it?
So I came over here and I played at the academy while going to school still. And it was always about playing soccer, but the backup plan was, if you want to say that, was like the college system, like going to a school. And that's what my parents wanted, that while I was here, I talked to different schools and I looked into different options. But you know, you work hard and all of a sudden like things line up. And when I finished high school, I had to go back to Hungary to spend a little time there for like half a year. And I just started playing in the first division there, and everything just clicked, and you start your professional career all of a sudden. So it was a different route after all, the better route, as you would say. So that's how it all started.
And what was some of the hardest parts about moving when you first came over here, like the culture shock or getting adjusted to the way that you know, American lifestyle? What were some of the most challenging like obstacles that you faced when you first moved out here?
Yeah, I spoke good English honestly when I came, but still not like perfect. So you have to pick the language up quickly. People speak very fast and they use a lot of words that you don't know about. So it's like it's hard, but it's the best way to do it. Like I was in a household where that was the only way I could communicate, and you have to pick it up as quickly as possible. But it was something that I'm glad in Hungary I went to a school where I was already learning English, but in general, it's just like you miss your family, obviously. So I came here and I couldn't go home for the whole school year. So you have to do Christmas for the first time without your family, and I think that was the only time I've done that as well. So like that's hard. That's very tough. But what was good for me is that my life was very busy. The family that I live with, they had three kids, so like three built-in siblings, and you go to their games, you do certain things, you do schoolwork, like you almost don't have time to be homesick. But the culture shock is different. But you know, I loved America before I came here. Like it was like I watched so many movies, I wanted to be in one, and it was very cool to be in a high school that I was like, this is just like how I imagined it, you know. So it was really cool to be in it finally.
What were
What?
your like
Yeah.
biggest images of America before you moved here? What were your like cultural like touch points, references? What movies were you watching, or is it like Breakfast Club or some of these like kind of like high school coming of age movies, superhero movies? Like what were you watching in terms of picking up American culture like that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, all those movies, and like as you said, like the high school scenery, like as all movies show it, like that's something that is truly like simple things. As a foreigner, you come and you look at the lockers and you're like, oh my God, like that's what I saw in movies. I have my own locker now. And that seems so silly, you know, later on. But I wasn't afraid to like embrace that I'm a foreigner and I'm enjoying these things. So it was cool, like people dressing up for Halloween. Like it was like really special to like experience these things, and giving we in Hungary we give presents for Christmas on the 24th at night, and here in the US it's the 25th in the morning, and that was something I only saw in movies as well. So there was many different things that I could throughout the year I could connect, and it was special. My host family took me to Disney World. I mean, it doesn't get any more American than that, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it
oh
was
yeah,
one of those.
yeah.
No, so that getting back to the soccer space, you had an amazing season, 2021. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how to work, how locked in you had to be to even be considered one of the finalists MVP of the season?
Yes, it was a special year, and I still look back with so many memories. Like, just had a great team around me, honestly, and everything just clicked from the beginning. And you know how it is with attackers when you start scoring and the confidence comes, it's so much easier to score the next goal and the next goal. And as the team was doing well, I had a lot of chances, and it was special. And I I made the All Star team, and it made my debut with the national team. So there was so many things that just like constantly boosted my confidence that it just carried out the whole season. And it was really crazy to see my name pop up in the MVP race like early on in the season, and it just like kept staying in there. And there was one time I think it like dropped down like outside the top five, and I was so mad. And I was like, what do you mean? And I remember we played Dallas and I scored two goals when we went there, and I was like, yep, exactly that. Like I want to be in that race, and it becomes motivation. So that year was special, and I wish we would have ended the playoff run better. But individually, that definitely set my career in a new course.
Yeah,
Did,
and go ahead. Yeah.
did you try to keep the same routine for every game, like walking with your right foot to the field? What was that routine looking like?
Yes, yes, you try to keep your routine always when things work, like wearing the same type of cleats, you know, putting the shin guards on the same way, and then at one point. you start to lose it because honestly, if you get too much into the habit of things, like when things don't work out and like you constantly try to find new habits, like you could just get lost in it. So
Mm.
at one point you got to draw the line. Like it really doesn't matter which foot you're taking the first step on the field. Like when I was younger, I'm like, no, it's the right foot because I'm gonna score with my right foot. But then you're like, but does it matter? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard.
Yeah, and talk about the MLS All Star experience because I don't know if we've ever had a conversation about like All Star because it's not a weekend, and I wish that they would put the make it like a weekend thing with the festivities, kind of like how the NBA does it to make like a whole spectacle out of it. But what was it like, in the locker room, getting a kind of was that the year that was in LA, right? That year?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So getting coming out to LA and having a chance to talk with other stars in the league, and what was that whole experience like for you?
It was awesome. The guys were I was a bit nervous because as much as you feel like a star in your own team and you just got selected to be an all-star, the first time experience you're looking up to those players. And I still am, but like you're looking up to them and you're like, wait, these guys are better than me. They've been in these situations. Like you're a little bit shy when you go there. And then all these amazing players in the league start telling you like, oh my God, what a season you have. Oh, that goal was amazing. And then you're like, yeah, that I should be here. Yeah, you guys are right. And honestly, very nice guys. The Seattle guys were very nice. Krylak, I already knew him before, and a couple of guys, but like it was awesome to be on the same field with them and seeing how they train, even though we barely do any training and the game's super quick because you get a half
Sure, right.
with those guys. But it was cool because we tied the game. We went into penalties against Liga MX. I had to take a penalty. I scored. So it was like I didn't score in the game, but I could score my penalty, which is very special. And I was very disappointed that it was still like COVID restrictions somewhat. So like
Yeah,
my family couldn't fly in for the game. It wasn't the right time for it. And then they always told me that the appearances are awesome, like with all the sponsors. And I didn't get to experience that part. But I keep using it as motivation that one day I'll
you got to
get
get back
back and
there.
I
Yeah.
can do it again. But it was definitely special.
Mm. Yeah, and talk about your family because you come from a soccer family. Your dad played professionally, and what was that like? Was he kind of like coaching you as you grew up? Was he like tough on you? Like what was that like growing up in a soccer family like that?
Yes, he definitely was coaching me, still is. It's that's how it is. But as a kid and as a younger player, it's hard to take criticism because everything is criticism, and then you later on learn that your dad just tries to help you and wants to make sure that you are the best. And honestly, it helped a lot that I moved away for that 1 year as an exchange student and playing at the academy level. He wasn't able to like watch my games. So he would, before that, he would come to the games and constantly like tell me like, you should have done this, you should have done that. And you get annoyed with it. And then I moved away and all of a sudden I got to tell him how the game went. And first I was like, I played amazing, I did this and that. And he was like, good. And then after 5 games, I was like, but I made this mistake. What do you think I should do? And all of a sudden, we had this like balanced way of finding how we should really communicate about like, I always tell him, like, give me a little bit of reward, what I'm doing right, and then tell me what I should correct a little bit. But he's been great about it. And I wouldn't be where I am without him, obviously. And I look at some other players and see how much they make bad transfer decision or like agent decisions, or they don't get the right help from the coach. And I'm just very, very fortunate to have this kind of family who was next to me every day.
Yeah. Was he giving you advice to the stuff like the business side of the game, like outside of just like playing and tactics and maybe like tips on the field, but like some of the moves that you make off the field, whether it's like requesting a trade, or I don't know if like, obviously I don't want to put any words out there, but like, was he giving you advice onto like how to conduct yourself like off the field in addition to on the field?
Yes, I feel like I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of players get their parents' approval before they make any moves or whatever decision they make, but it's truly like I have my agent who helps me um, get the right contract, but it's everything. I want everything to go through me and my family. Like they are supporting every decision or not, because I just trust them that they will get me they know what I need and what I want, and we can have conversations about it. And it seems like, like I've played at Kansas City my whole career, really, but early on it wasn't the case. And like throughout my career, there's situations when you have to be very smart and either patient or aggressive how you're going to go about different conversations. And it's nice to have a voice constantly who is guiding me the right way.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like him having gone through some similar, experiences as a pro. That's got to be like priceless advice that you get. So it's cool you have that structure as well to
Yes.
kind of guide you through
I'm
that.
very lucky, very lucky.
Yeah, but talk about like growing, like coming up as a player and getting more comfortable in the league. Obviously, 2021 was a massive year for you, but then getting the number 10 jersey following that. Like, talk about like your progression as an MLS player from coming up as a young kid to where you are now.
I think I got into the league at the right time. I'm very lucky when I look at my career. I think the league is improving a lot, but I think it's almost going with the right pace for me, that I'm growing with the league, and constantly it's challenging for me enough that it's not like I'm outgrowing the league or the league's outgrowing me. So it's not a lot of players get lucky that way. You have to find new clubs or new leagues. But I think the leagues has improved a lot over the years, and it was very good to be part of it. And some of the stars that came here to play and being on the field against them, I mean, I, I couldn't imagine another league until like Saudi came around, that you could be
Yeah.
on the same field with these type of players. And it's definitely something that I constantly am happy to talk about. Like I admired some players that I got to share a field with, and that's why this league is very special to me.
Was there a specific player that you kind of like, not were starstruck around, but you're like, dang, like I get to line up against this guy? Like who's like a certain player or players that kind of like was hard to believe that you're on the same field with?
For me, the big one was Zlatan. I was a big fan of him as a kid. I read his book. I was so excited when he joined the league, and we played against them. I think we had some good games. That was a good like Galaxy team, and there was times when we beat them, they beat us, and there was some fun games. And it was definitely special to be on the field and preparing against him. But I played against Pirlo. That was really cool. So there's players definitely. Playing against Messi is special in a way that I was always a Ronaldo fan. So to play against Messi, it was like a different kind of motivation. Fortunately, haven't won against him, but there's always chance. But we got to play in Arrowhead at the Chiefs Stadium,
Right.
70,000
Yeah.
people, and I was the captain, walking out with him doing the coin toss. Like, how many people can really say that? Like, I always look back at it, that it shows that I'm doing the right thing with my career if I'm in these situations.
Did you tell him that Ronaldo was better when you were shaking his hand?
No, but I wore the Cristiano Ronaldo's like signature cleats just to make sure. Maybe he notices, you know.
He for sure noticed.
For sure,
He
yes.
for sure noticed.
Sometimes you line up against these players and you are and all, but when does that change? Is it the first little 50-50 ball when it goes like, all right, now you're playing against me. I'm not playing against you.
Yes, yes. I had a slide tackle when I won the ball against him, so I was I was very excited, and the stadium went crazy. So I was like, I just did a slide tackle on Messi. That's really cool.
Yeah, he
But
saw the cleats. He saw the cleats there too.
he saw the cleats. Okay, but let's be honest. If you were a rival, the best player in the world, and going head to head with another one, would you not know the shoes? You would, right?
Yeah, definitely
I would remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you think like Kobe would always notice his teammates wearing, with the Adidas shoes, and they're like, it's something that all players with their own shoes, they notice that.
They
stuff,
notice it.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah, but he's a special player, so obviously he always finds ways to win the game, and he scored against us many times. So it's unfortunately he got the best of it, but I'm hopeful that we get another chance, and maybe I can score. And I mean, I scored against Miami, but he was on international break one time, so doesn't count.
Yeah. Well, there's gonna be future opportunities, and
I hope so.
We'll get that. Yeah. But there's a lot of talk about, especially with the Club World Cup going on, and Inter Miami going through to the next round, and the talk about like this league versus this league, or the Saudi league versus MLS was a huge conversation. Where do you think MLS stands in the global like landscape of leagues?
It's so hard to really judge it, and I think obviously like there's big difference within the league as well, like the top 10 versus the bottom 10, like
Right.
but just like every league. But we always try to say that the top 5 league is never going to change. It never changed. It never is going to change. That's not what you are racing for, like those spots. But who really knows what the 6 to 10 is? And I think somewhere there is MLS. Like there's years when it's higher, there's years when it's lower, but those leagues are very similar. And if now you watch the Club World Cup, it does get interesting. It's hard to see, and now these Brazilian teams win, so it's really hard to judge where it should be. But I hope that one day the salary cap can be a little bit more loose, and that's when we'll really get to see the true potential of MLS, because it's almost like an unfair competition right now.
Right.
So and they are competing, we are competing, but when you try to play against these Liga MX teams where 8 players would be a designated player in MLS, it's hard to really say it's the same playing field.
Yeah, MLS PA, man. We got to get these numbers
I'm
up.
working
man.
on it. I'm working.
Yeah, there we go.
First business. First part of the business, let go of the discovery rights. Yeah. I still don't get what that means.
Yes, it's very, very hard, and you can clearly see it was modeled after like the NFL and like MLB, sure, like true American sports. And I think we are on the track of like slowly transitioning into the football with a U, and like that type.
Yeah. So when we were doing our research for this interview, I was looking up some stuff on YouTube, and I saw the vlog when you're at the MLS's back tournament in the bubble back in 2020. Now I feel like the player vlog is something that's kind of caught on. Like you saw it in the NBA, like Matthias Taiboul, a French player, was doing his vlog as well. He kind of got some traction on that. But are we bringing that back? Because I love the episode with Gianluca when you guys are at the pool, like hanging out, like getting kind of that inside look at players' lives, and is super interesting from a fan perspective. So can you talk about like what went into the vlog, and if we're gonna bring it back?
Yes, I honestly loved it. I love doing it. I love the reaction from people. People loved it, and it was like a big hit. And I always cared about like like editing videos. I just loved it. I would like create like Instagram accounts when I would just like put together like soccer highlights and just put some music underneath. And like it was like it was like a hobby for me. I would go to a coffee shop and do it. And then I wanted to do a vlog for, I was doing an ankle recovery, and that's when I started it. And I had Gianluca Busio with me, who is an absolute character. So like to do it with him was like special, and he loves the camera, he loves the attention. So he almost is like an unpaid actor in my
Yeah.
vlogs. So it was amazing to have him, but I really enjoyed it. But that year I had a terrible year. I only scored one goal, and it was one of those that it's like people start pointing at things like you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. And like the vlog was one of those that it's like, well, you didn't vlog last year and you did better. So it's so hard to find the right time, because you either don't care and you're like, it's not not the problem, and you just do it, or you don't want to do anything really because they can pick on it. So short answer, I'd love to bring it back one day. Hopefully I can find the right time, because I think I'm trying to show like a informative but at the same time like fun side of
Yeah.
the locker room. And I think just fans enjoy watching it, and my friends loved watching it too, and it was cool.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen that trend, that like unexpected edit trend, where it's like a Family Guy clip or something, or like somebody gets headbutted and it'll be like a Zidane. It'll like just
Yes,
cut
yes,
straight to,
yes.
like, you know what I mean, or like someone like a bald, like it'll just like go to a bald, and then it'll be like a bald, like a Arjen Robben or something, like highlight or something like that. Like that stuff, I love those. Those always catch me off guard. Like I feel like that's something right up your alley if you're into making those football edits.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll head to a coffee shop tomorrow and just do something quick.
You gotta get a quick burner account and then fire one of those up.
Exactly, exactly.
But so one thing you mentioned about like that, so like you had a kind of might have had a down year that season, but I feel like that is kind of like that year in the bubble is just such a tough, like you can't really, that's like almost an asterisk year where like if you have a really bad year or a really good year, like it's a completely different like atmosphere, you know, the lack of fans, everybody together. What was that like in that situation, you know, at the hotel, kind of isolated? What was that like for you?
Yeah,
as
how
a player?
difficult it was it? Because a lot of the NBA, like seeing NBA players talk about it, saying how some people are saying like sometimes if you're just a player that likes playing, it's much easier for you because all you're doing is that without the outside distraction. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it was not easy, and I feel like I've been very lucky that at Sporting KC we've always had a good locker room. So when that's the only people you get to see, because they're like, hey, please don't go here and there. It's very lucky to have good teammates. So we try to make the best of it, but at the same time, I mean, it sucked. Let's be honest. Like we had to go to Orlando, couldn't really do anything. We stayed at a hotel room for whatever 2 weeks it was, or more, maybe three. And yes, it wasn't easy, but I can imagine guys like I was a single guy living alone, like not with family, anything. So like I didn't have anything to like rush back to from the bubble. And like there's guys who have kids and they had to be away from them and just be in a bubble like that. That was terrible. Like I had a teammate whose wife was pregnant at the time, and like the baby was due when we were gonna be in the bubble. Like you have to make those decisions, and that's so hard. And at that time, it was like it almost soccer just seemed like much smaller than life itself. Like it just truly I feel like we put everything in perspective at that time.
Yeah, yeah. It was such a strange time in general, and I think MLS was one of the first leagues to kind of come back. So it was nice to get kind of sports in a sense of normalcy. But I mean, still, like looking back at that time, like, you know, 5 years ago, it doesn't even feel like, you know, it was just a completely wild, you know, set of months across the board, you know.
Yeah, looking at games, it looked like going to small colleges and seeing those games because like the field there was no people in the stands. It was just
Yeah.
fields. It looked like when you're playing like MLS Next or Academy, those tournaments where it's just fields upon fields.
Yeah.
I remember we played in Cincinnati after the bubble, and that's when they didn't have their stadium yet. So they played at the college. And I'm not joking. I was on the bench and we were whispering because it was so, you felt like you could hear the other bench having a conversation. It was so quiet. And that was so strange, like those times. And you could hear everything on the field. It was insane. Honestly, watching TV, like games on TV, was so strange. Like you could hear like these star players from like Real Madrid, like you could hear clear conversations, and that was so strange.
Yeah. Did you have to like tailor your trash talk to be a little bit different, knowing that the mics might pick it up?
Yes, yes, yes. Or let's not say a bad word because you get a phone call from your mom and be like,
Is there any good trash talkers in the league? And you're like, oh man, every time I'm gonna play against this guy, I already know he's gonna talk trash, but he's so good at it.
I honestly, people ask me that a lot, and I have teammates. We drafted this kid Jensen Miller, and he's been playing all year. He's doing great, and he's like, he starts trash talking to like VPs in the league, and it's crazy. Like he gets so into it, and then he tells us all the conversation he had in the locker room after. We're dying laughing, and he always asks me like, what do they say to you? And I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of like laugh when people try to do it, but I feel like there's different types of people. Some people get their motivation from just saying a couple of words, you know. I'm more of I need to be like focused in the game, and I almost don't hear it.
What's the wildest thing Jansen said that you can repeat?
Jansen, he he told Klaus from St. Louis that he's the worst DP in the league, and 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 Klaus said, well, like I make more money than you, and Jansen said, well, you have 2 goals in 2 years, and like that's not a flex that you make more money. And it was crazy, and he was so excited telling us this story, but he truly, like, that's his motivation. So I'm glad that he's in our team, because you need those type of players.
Right.
And honestly, the St. Louis rivalry, it adds to it. So I think Klaus is a great player, and I hope that, you know, next time he will say something to Jensen that we can laugh at the locker room too.
Yeah,
right.
No, because they said about Lamine Yamal, they're saying that he didn't play good in the final against Portugal because nobody was trash talking him, and he gets motivation from getting trash talk. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk about the locker room. You know, you're obviously one of the leaders in the locker room. What's the dynamic of the team like? How have you grown as a leader, and just like how do you guys vibe together as a team with Sporting Kansas City?
Yes, I think you know, we've gone through a strange year. Obviously, there was some coaching changes, and you have to like adapt. But I feel like it also brings the team together. I think our team, we always had a good locker where our core players were the veterans who always made sure that, you know, the locker room is doing stuff together. Like you always go and do team events together. You take care of the younger players, and that tradition kind of carried on. So we've always had this bond where like the older players try to take care of it. This year, it's like all of a sudden I've become an old player, so that's strange. And you have to do the things that like other guys did for you. So it's a transitional phase at our club, but I feel like we're doing a good enough job, and we really feel like everybody's included and connected in the right way. So I'm happy where we are, and guys come from different backgrounds, and we always make sure to include everybody. So it makes me, you know, it puts a different kind of pressure on me as an older guy, but I enjoy it so far.
Yeah, and you come from great veterans. You said earlier, Roger Espinosa, Suzy. How were those guys in the locker room? Because those guys were, I believe Roger was a captain for Honduras at one point, and Suzy had a lot of national team experience. How was that?
Yeah, they were tough guys. You know, when you get there as a young player, they truly show you the way how to be a professional, how to carry yourself on the field, what are the, like they call you out on your mistakes, and they lead by example. So those are, I think, what true leaders have as characters. And it I just got like I'm lucky that I became friends with them later on. Like then you have this special bond where you respect them as leaders, but you're also like hanging out off the field, and it's like such a special connection. But when you watch the way they prepare for every single day and they compete, then you're like, I understand why your career was the way it was. And, you want to get to their level. So the club was very lucky to have these kind of players. And you always want to make sure that you replace those core players with the once they go out with the next core. And but these guys are tough to replace. So that's why I'm saying that we are still in the transition of finding what's the next group gonna look like truly.
Yeah. Listen, Daniel, we are starting to run low on time, but we close out every conversation we have with the different players with what's on your playlist, who you're listening to, what are some artists that have been in the rotation for you in the last few months.
Ooh, honestly, I'm gonna admit something. I was never a Kendrick Lamar fan, and and like never was. And lately, like I just have to eat my own words, like great. And I've been really listening to his like latest album and just his old stuff too. Just like he grew on me, and I have to admit that I was wrong. So I'm gonna say Kendrick Lamar lately.
All right. Yeah. Well, we can appreciate somebody that can admit when they're wrong, because not a lot of people can do that. And
exactly, I might say my girlfriend has a little influence on that because she really convinced me that he's great. So yes, we'll probably go to his concert at one point because of that.
Yeah. Well, you have someone that's got a good head on her shoulders, so
exactly.
Good cultured background. So yeah. There you go. Listen, Daniel, this has been a really fun conversation. Wishing you the best of luck throughout the rest of the year. I'm just gonna throw it out there. We do have the Urban Pitch Boost. We like a lot of the players that we have on the show go on to do great things in the it could be a month from now, a year from now, whatever it is. Anything that you do good in the next the rest of your career, we're gonna take a little bit of credit for that. I hope you're okay with it. We're gonna ride on those coattails as much as we can.
No problem. I'll give you all the credit. I hope you're right.
So when you become an all-star, we might need a little tag on the post.
For sure. I'll do a little sticker on the jersey.
Hey, there we go. We'll send you some patches in the mail. Yeah. This has been another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life. For Dániel Sallói, Julio Monterosa, I'm Ramsey Abushala. We'll see you next week.